large bodies. They need a huge brain to control that huge body. We made room for that large brain, the expansion of our cranium, the upper part of our skull, through a reduction in the size of our face. Our faces have been getting smaller, and I'll lay out a series of fossils for you to look at. And you'll see some of the earliest ones that we have really large faces and really small brains. Dr. Hovind may tell you that, well, that's just a glorified chimpanzee, but I will point out to you the differences between humans and chimpanzees, and I even have an ape skull that you can look at, so you can see for yourself, and show you why I think that this fossil that I have is more human than it is ape. Well, over time, the faces have gotten smaller, the cranium have gotten larger, the brain has gotten larger. Well, our faces are getting smaller, that's crowding our teeth. In fact, within the last 100,000 years ago, we start to see humans, not just in the fossil record, but I also do quite a bit of archaeology. I'm one of the guys that goes out there and digs up the remains of dead people. And I've seen hundreds of them. And we see in the archaeological record that this is not a unique problem to modern humans. This is ever since we became modern humans. People have been having trouble with their teeth. And it's because of this. Ordinarily, we talk about people that have problems with their teeth being in trouble from an evolutionary perspective. And if you die, you're not successful. Well, we're pretty successful. There are currently, 6 billion people on the planet today? We're one of the most prolific species on the planet. One of the other things that I'll talk about briefly is where we fit in the animal world. Brought in a little chart. This is what we call a taxonomic system, how we categorize different things in the animal world. One of the things, by the way, that I will challenge Dr. Hovind to do tonight is to give me a definition of kind. I will ask him to do that, and I hope he will be able to provide you with a definition of kind. What constitutes a kind? Because I can talk about species. I am Homo sapiens. Genus, species. Homo, genus, species, sapiens. Means wise human. We got to do the naming, so we got to say that we're wise humans. In fact, to the subspecies, we consider ourselves Homo sapiens sapiens, really wise humans. Boy, we're at the top of the ladder, aren't we? By the way, I don't believe that we're at the top of the ladder. Okay? In the taxonomic system, we name things. We identify things based on where they fit. The kingdom, well, we're all animals, so we're the animal kingdom. Phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Genus, Homo, species, sapiens. Did you all know, I'll give you another fact to dwell upon. I know my time is almost up here. That humans and chimpanzees share 98.2% of their genetic material. That's an interesting concept. There's more relatedness, more genetic relatedness between a human and a chimpanzee than there is between an African and an Indian elephant. And yet when we look at them, we have no difficulty saying those are both elephants. When we look at a human and a chimpanzee, we have no difficulty saying one is an animal and one is a human being. Genetically, they're not that different. In fact, there's a difference in matter of chromosomes. And let me tell you right now, chimpanzees have an extra set of chromosomes. So don't let anybody tell you that complexity is dependent on how many chromosomes you have. Because dogs and plants, some plants have hundreds of chromosomes. That doesn't make them more complex than human beings, just makes them different. Won't get into a lot of other similarities. We don't have a whole lot of time to dwell on that. One of the other things I want to bring up tonight is that there are an awful lot of Christians out there, out here in the world, who don't really have a problem with evolutionary theory. In fact, you didn't see anything in my theory that says there is no God. Don't let anybody tell you that because you are an evolutionist, because you believe in evolution, you must also be an atheist. That's not correct. The Catholic Church doesn't have a problem with evolution. The Lutheran Church doesn't have a problem with evolution. The Jewish Congress doesn't have a problem with evolution. Presbyterians, Methodists. I'm married to a Southern Baptist who is also an anthropologist. She is one of the most ardent believers in God and in Jesus Christ, and she doesn't have a problem with evolution. There does not have to be a conflict. Some of you are rolling your eyes. In fact, the guy at the timetable is rolling his eyes at me. Where does it say in my theory that there is no God? I don't see it anywhere. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you there is or isn't. I believe that someone's faith is a very personal thing. It's not my job to convince you that I'm necessarily right. In fact, if you walked in here completely disbelieving evolution, great. I have to stop now. I'll turn it over to Dr. Hovind.
Well, it's an honor to be here tonight. My name is Kent Hovind. I taught high school science for 15 years. Now for the last 10 years, I've been in evangelism, and I travel around and speak on the subject of creation, evolution, and dinosaurs. Even my website, drdino.com, shows our great love for dinosaurs around our ministry. I appreciate Dr. Hartman coming tonight. It is surprisingly difficult to find an opponent to debate on this topic, and I'm very much honored that he would be willing to come tonight. It appears to me, after speaking on this topic for 10 years, that the ones who believe in evolution generally want to stand in front of their freshman class where they have the academic and psychological advantage, and they don't want to take on somebody on a level playing field where they can answer their questions. So I'm going to share with you tonight the two different views, and I appreciate what he said, and I would have to agree with everything he gave in his two definitions of the two different theories, creation and evolution, with one minor exception that I would have to differ with him on. The Bible teaches very clearly that God made the world in 6 days, and he did it about 6,000 years ago. He said up to 10,000 years ago. Well, maybe so, I don't know. But certainly the dates in the Bible add up to about 6,000. And then 4,400 years ago, there was a worldwide flood, and a fellow named Noah built a big boat and saved all the animals on board. This is the biblical view of history. The evolutionist view says 20 billion years ago, some say 15, some say 12, the numbers vary, but a long time ago, there was a big bang. They don't know what exploded, but they think there was a big bang. And then 4.6 billion years ago, some say 4.5, the earth cooled down and formed. And this, as it cooled down, and it began to rain on the rocks for millions of years and turned them into soup, and the soup came alive about 3 to 4 billion years ago. This is basically the evolution theory. The Bible warned us to beware about science that is falsely so-called. I like science. Don't accuse me of being against science. The word science means knowledge, things that we know by observation or testing or demonstration. It is my contention that there is absolutely nothing about evolution that is scientific. And I'll give you the 6 different meanings of the word evolution in a minute. But 5 of them are purely religious. There is no scientific evidence for them at all. And we offer $250,000 at our ministry for somebody who can give real empirical testable evidence for evolution. I think kids are being brainwashed. They lose their faith. One professor said he was, at 15, became a Christian, joined the Southern Baptist Church, loved Jesus, but we went to University of Alabama, where I spoke yesterday. He lost his faith. Some professor got him to doubt God's Word. Actually, 75% of kids that go from Christian homes to secular universities will end up losing their faith by the end of their freshman year. Evolution is a religion. It violates the obvious first and second laws of thermodynamics. It does not explain where matter comes from, where energy comes from, where the laws come from. It does not explain how things get better without an input of enormous amount of energy and an intelligent force to organize the energy. It's a total violation of the known laws of science. It gives time, space, and matter the same character traits that we give to God, able to create things. Evolution, I think, is a dud of a theory. It requires faith in all sorts of things. It requires faith that life can come from non-living matter.